Today is particularly special, not only because St. Lucia, my country, celebrates its 45th anniversary of independence, but equally important is that we have come together as islanders to discuss a topic which threatens our very existence. Yet, it is our resilience as a people born out of slavery and colonialism that sets us apart, standing tall even in the face of exogenous and existential threats such as climate change. And it is that sheer grit, my friends, that we celebrate today. The overarching theme of this evening's symposium, Culture, Society, and Climate Challenges, is so relevant, so apt, so timely. I have in recent times been advocating for the decolonization of Caribbean curricula to resemble the collective intellect, history, identity, sociocultural and political nuances and soul of our people. Yes, it's true that many of our epistemologies or systems of knowledge have been shaped by Eurocentrism, often privileging European or Western history, culture, and values, while marginalizing or ignoring our perspectives, including what is authentically and indigenously our own here in the Caribbean. This Eurocentrism is evident in various aspects of our epistemological frameworks, including the ways in which history, literature, philosophy, and science are taught and understood. Sadly, historical narratives focus predominantly on achievements and contributions of European societies, while downplaying or overlooking the contributions of non-European cultures and civilizations. Even the way we choose to express ourselves, our culture, is subjected to Eurocentric interpretations and value systems. In fact, I have often preferred that we have been fed a sometimes poisonous, detrimental, and disempowering portion of historical discourse that reflects our experiences as islanders within the frame of victimhood and not that of resilience and victory. Have we ever pondered or wondered that had we taught the story of slavery to celebrate our shared spunk in the face of suffering, our innate ability to swim against the tide and keep our heads above water, or that bloodied, battered, and battle-worn we fought our way to freedom and secured some of the civil liberties we enjoy today, that maybe, just maybe, we would perceive our reality differently, that we would walk with backs erect, heads held high as a people who know how to win. And it is that stickability, grit, spunk, perseverance, and resilience that have seen us neck high in flooding waters, bent over in scorching heat, saving our crops, casting nets in oceans where schools of fish are no longer plentiful, that single female farmers who are head and provider of their household doing what they can or must to meet the somatic needs of their children. That is what brings us here today. The intersectionality of culture, race, identity, gender, and climate change is so innate to our existence. We do not have the privilege of disaggregating those. But what we can do is to reframe what is indigenous to us to combat what is before us. And that is the vagaries of climate change. I trust that today's discussion will prove to be one more purposeful step towards leveraging that which we are and who we are to combat climate change. It is therefore my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the hallowed walls of USM and to this aptly entitled symposium. May tonight's discussion be fruitful and meaningful. Thank you for listening.
RBC, we know the roles you have to play can change quickly. Whether it's a homeowner, a new parent, today's head chef, salesperson of the month, or the family chauffeur. Whatever life asks you to be, RBC is a bank for all of you.
Social and health insurances. SXM. Your social and health insurances.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM. Yeah. Your social and health insurances.
1 billion consumers lived almost exclusively in the North Atlantic societies. So they lived in Europe, Australia, the US, and Canada. Nowadays, we have 4 billion consumers. 70% of those 4 billion consumers live in the global South. They live in places like Brazil, in places like China, Nigeria. So which means we can't say anymore, this is only a matter of the North Atlantic. It's also a matter of the globe. When you look at the emissions, which is causing it to get hot, causing the ice caps to melt. When you look at these figures, you recognize that it's growing exponentially. A fold only means 100%. That's what a fold means. So when you look at the folds of CO2 emissions, you see 1,700% it has grown since the 1950s. And it continues to grow. I think this person will have to take the other door. Yeah. What this means is that we, as a species, move around more Earth than all the rivers put together. The rivers move around Earth. We move around more Earth than all the rivers put together. And we use lots of that Earth to build houses, 96% of all the animals you see are the animals we keep. So you might see in an ad that they're saying the polar bears are dying, and there's lions and tigers. But of all the animals on the earth, 96% are the cows we keep, the pigs we keep, the chickens, and those animals that join us, the rats, the cockroaches. That's the 96%. So we are changing the face of this earth. We're destroying the mangroves. When I drive here, what used to be a salt pond is gone. This is part of the transformation of the earth. And let's say by 80 years from now, we will be only living in cities. So we're becoming a different kind of species. So two reasons. One reason has to do with a global transformation, and the second reason had to do with something local. When we started this program, the UN speaks about climate change. The UN speaks about climate change. We decided change is just part of life. So we decided we would call it climate challenges. Because if you want to study something, you have to study how people are responding to it. So if it's a challenge, you can study if people are adapting their lifestyle to it, if people are completely ignoring it, if people are making it worse. So therefore, we do not speak about climate change, we speak about climate challenges. That is what we study. To us, this is an interesting photo, to us, the climate challenges, they are plural. They contain many different challenges. It's not only about the climate. One of the things, it's getting extremely hot. It's getting hotter globally. When it gets hotter, older folk get ill quicker. So it's a health problem too. It's not only a climatical problem. Those people that are utterly able, that can't get around, they usually are in houses and they get sick. You can't sleep well. You can't work well. It troubles your productivity. But the growing heat comes together with this. Flooding, excessive rainfall at certain moments. These two things go together. And then you have something that is more difficult, which is a mindset. It's called the ghost of modernization. All it means is that in the 1920s and 30s, people decided they needed more industry. They needed to build up their country. That's modernization. For the islands, when I was here as president, I used to speak about black gold societies. White gold societies are agricultural societies, sugar, banana, and so forth. Black gold society are industrial societies. Modernization. It transformed the Netherlands Antilles, what used to be the Netherlands Antilles. Let me give you some figures. On Aruba in 1928, 8,000 people resided there. In 1950, it was 80,000. That is not natural growth. That is people coming in to work in the refineries. On Curaçao, the Shell had 12,000 workers in the 1930s. Of those 12,000 workers, only 1,500 were people from Curaçao. The rest were people from other islands and other places that worked there. So when you look at Dutch Caribbean societies, you're seeing actually new societies. It transformed these places. Suddenly people have fridges, they have cars. When people think about the Lago and the Shell, they think about good times. What they don't think about is all the emissions that went into the sky. These were the biggest oil refineries in the world. Now we've moved to Visa card gold societies. Tourism, hospitality-based societies, with all the planes coming in. With the building of more hotels and so forth. That's where we are right now. And again, it's transforming these societies. Again, you have many people coming in, and you're going to get a new type of St. Martin, a new type of Reuben, and so forth. That's just part of this dynamic.
It's a change. I am really happy that I have been elected and that I can contribute to a better St. Martin. Also with the legal expertise and the legal background, I would like to contribute to the 5-star representation that I have promised the people of St. Martin.
Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to at least be able to handle as the first time in Parliament?
You know what I really want to focus on is the empowerment of our people, also contributing to the involvement of our people. A lot of times our people are not aware of what's going on. So what I would like to do and continue doing is involving and empowering, coming to different lectures, knowing what's going on in the community, also reaching out to the people and hearing what's playing around in the community, and also making them aware that they also have a role to play to make sure that they stay connected to what's going on and also play their role and ask questions, not only before election, during, but also after, because we also have a responsibility to play and hold the people accountable.
Earlier on, you spoke of your orientation period.
Yes.
Can you give us an idea as to what that entails?
It's a 3-week orientation period where we have different speakers out of the community. Today we had CFT, we had the audit chamber, and other than that we have other professionals providing us with lectures, also knowing what your role is as parliamentarian, knowing the rules of order, knowing what the Constitution is and where you can find it, and what the Constitution stands for, and where you can find the different articles in the law, because you need you know your role as a member of parliament so that you can execute that role in the best of your ability, to the best of your ability. So that's very intensive, but very needed so that you can do what needs to be done and show up to the meetings, as my MP colleague, the Weaver, stated.
May I ask a final question? It has been reported that you will be going to the executive branch of government instead of staying in Parliament. How true is that indication?
You know, what people need to remember is that what this election was about. It was a parliamentary election, so you elected your members of parliament, and I'm one of the 50 members of parliament, so that's the answer.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances.
At RBC, we know the roles you have to play can change quickly. Whether it's a homeowner, a new parent, today's head chef, salesperson of the month, or the family chauffeur. Whatever life asks you to be, RBC is a bank for all of you.
Members of the lower house debating the Antigua and Barbuda Sales Tax Amendment Bill 2024 Thursday. The bill seeks to reshape the way businesses handle the ABSD by shortening the time for paying it over to the government. At this point, they have 30 days, but the legislation cuts that in half.
Let's say, for instance, that we're collecting about $20 million in a month for the ABSD. And then we have to wait until the following month, maybe the second or third, to collect it. Then it places the pressures on the government to the extent that we could be late in paying salaries and wages. And what we're trying, and even suppliers to who ordinarily will pay at the end of the month. So we're trying to regularize things here to make sure that we have better cash flows, to make sure we can pay our bills on time, rather than to be consistently late.
The Prime Minister views the amendment as non-contentious, but the opposition isn't seen eye to eye with the government. They argue the new 15-day window to remit ABSD returns could put unnecessary pressure on businesses, especially those operating on credit.
We have to be considerate. If you say that businesses that are cash-based, we're collecting cash on the spot, can pay the 15% in 15 days, but service companies in the service industry should be given some more time.
Barbuda MP, the Honourable Trevor Walker, questions the feasibility of the new time frame and points to the struggle some businesses face just to survive.
If there's a problem collecting the money in 45 days, how practical is it that you're going to have an increase in compliance in 15 days?
Despite the pushback, St. Mary North MP Sir Malwin Joseph defends the amendment, cautioning the opposition against fostering a culture of tax evasion. He says businesses extending credit should ensure they collect the ABSD up front.
You could collect the tax and say to the person, I am giving you credit to come back and pay me, but you must pay the tax because that is what the government requires.
In his closing remarks, the Prime Minister says the law still gives the Commission of Inland Revenue the discretion to allow businesses in genuine need to pay at a later date. Jamie J. Roche, ABS